Have you ever wondered? Why do some people seem to glide through life as gently as the wind, with every door opening before them, while others, no matter how hard they work, still struggle and find everything so difficult? We often think it is fate. But even Arabi, a great Sufi mystic, once said, "The blessings of God flow like a river, yet no one drinks in the same way." That sentence makes us pause for a moment. If his blessings are always flowing, then why do some receive them so easily, while others remain thirsty? Perhaps the secret is not in the river, but in the cup we bring to it. Some drink with gratitude, some drink with fear, and some do not even believe that the river exists. And it is right there where everything begins to differ. Today, I would like to invite you to walk with me on a very special journey. A journey not to seek wealth, but to seek the fullness within the soul. Because perhaps Surah Al Waqi'ah, the chapter known as the chapter of wealth, is not just a prayer, but the key that opens the door to divine grace. For those who know how to drink with a trusting heart, my dear friend, when we talk about wealth, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Is it money, houses, beautiful cars, or the numbers in your bank account? But for Ibn Arabi, the mystic of the heart, he said, rizq, the provision from God, is not just material wealth. It is every breath, every moment we still live in peace. We often think being blessed means receiving something more. But in truth, the greatest blessing is sometimes what we already have but fail to notice. Do you remember the last time you simply sat still just to breathe and smile? Not because you gained something new, but because your heart felt enough. There's a story that goes like this. A student once came to his teacher and complained, "I recite Surah Al Waqi'ah every night, but my life is still hard, and I am no better off." The teacher smiled, looked at him for a long while, and said, "You recite with your tongue, but your heart remains poor." The student was confused. "Master, I read every word correctly, without missing a verse." The teacher replied, "The key to grace is not in the sound, it is in the intention. When your heart is closed, your recitation is only an echo fading into the air." From that moment, the student understood it was not enough to recite. He had to recite with humility and gratitude. And that was where the real lesson began. For years, we have prayed for so many things, money, health, luck, yet we forget that the true source of blessings does not come from outside, but from within, from gratitude, from peace, and from deep faith in the one who created us. Ibn Arabi said, "Those who walk toward God no longer chase after rizq, for rizq will begin to chase after them." Pause for a moment and feel the meaning of that. When we stop chasing, blessings begin to find us. When we stop clinging too tightly, the world starts giving back. Some people spend their entire lives collecting wealth, but the more they have, the more they fear losing it. Their sleep becomes restless and their joy incomplete, because material wealth can never fill the emptiness inside. On the other hand, some people have very little, just a humble home, a simple meal. Yet they possess something money can never buy: peace. One person may have everything but cannot sleep in peace. Another may have just a piece of bread, yet through gratitude, they rest in serenity. Do you see? The difference does not lie in the wallet. It lies in the heart. Ibn Arabi said, "Poverty does not begin in the wallet, it begins in the heart." Sometimes, God does not give us more, not because He forgets us, but because He wants us to look deeper within ourselves. Have we lost who we are in this endless chase? Do we still believe that His blessings are still flowing, and that we have simply forgotten how to drink from them? Think about how many times in your life you have said, "If I just had a little more, I will be happier." But once you had more, you wanted even more again. Because fullness is not found in more, it is found in enough. When we begin to live with faith and gratitude, everything in life starts to feel lighter. Work is no longer a burden. Challenges are no longer punishments, but doors doors that lead us to recognize blessings in every moment. That door does not open by force, it opens with faith. And Surah Al Waqi'ah is God's gentle reminder. Do not fear lack, for I am the provider. So, do not recite this surah only with your lips. Recite it with your heart. Because when the heart believes, blessings will naturally find their way to you, and you will finally understand what true wealth really means. My dear friend, perhaps it is time to pause and ask yourself, how far have you gone in this life chasing what you may have already had all along? From a young age, we were taught that we must work hard, have a lot, and achieve much. Only then can we be called successful. And so, we dive into an endless race, racing against others, against time, and even against ourselves. But somewhere between the victories, we feel defeated. Between the achievements, we feel empty, because it seems that we are collecting everything except peace. Even Arabi once said, "You plow the field, but it is He who blesses the earth. You drink the water, but it is He who makes it sweet." That saying is a wake-up call. We can work, plan, and calculate, but the blessings still belong to Him. Without His light, the seed cannot sprout. Without His breath, our hearts cannot beat for even one more moment. And then we realize what we call my effort is, in truth, the grace given to me to make that effort. Someone once said, I prayed for God to give me wealth, but He gave me peace instead. And when I lost that peace, I finally understood that was a true wealth. A person may own the whole world, but if their heart is full of worry, fear, and envy, they are still the poorest of all. But the one who can smile even when they have nothing, the one who can say, Alhamdulillah, praise be to Him, even when life does not go their way, that person already possesses the greatest treasure on earth. Have you ever seen elderly people with silver hair and gentle smiles, who live simply yet seem to shine from within? They may not have much money or power, but their steps are light and their presence calm, because they have found what so many young people still seek, a sense of completeness in the soul. They understand that true wealth is not in the house, but in the light within the heart. Ibn Arabi said something deeply profound. Wealth is not having more, it is when you no longer need more. You see, the world teaches us how to earn more, but Surah Al Waqi'ah teaches us how to feel enough. And that is the difference between one who lives in grace and one who lives only in desire. The grateful person, even with just 1 grain of rice, feels abundant. The ungrateful person, even with a treasure chest, feels poor. My dear friend, when we truly begin to trust, miracles start to happen. Things that once seemed random begin to align. Opportunities appear at just the right moment. And even pain leads us to something better. Because when the heart is in the right place, life naturally falls into order. You no longer have to force yourself to control everything, because you understand that the one who is in control is already present in all things. You no longer worry about what tomorrow will bring, because you trust that if He still gives you breath, He will also give you enough to live. Someone once said, if you want to know how deeply you trust God, watch how you react when things do not go your way. If we panic, grow angry, or lose hope, it means we still trust ourselves more than we trust Him. But when we can smile in the middle of a storm and say, you know what is better for me than I do, that is when our hearts become truly rich. Have you ever wondered why those who have gone through great loss often become softer, wiser, and kinder? It is because they have walked through darkness, and there they found the light, not the light outside, but the one within. Ibn Arabi said, sometimes God gives you less, not to take away, but to help you realize that He is everything. That saying is a comfort to those who find life difficult, because even trials are blessings. They soften the heart, teach us humility, and lead us back to the light we once forgot. My dear friend, when you recite Surah Al Waqi'ah, Do not recite it only to fill your wallet. Recite it to widen your heart. Because when your heart opens, everything else will naturally fall into place. And then you will see that true wealth is not money or possessions. It is the ability to forgive, the spirit of gratitude, and the peace that no one can ever take away. You may be poor in the eyes of the world, but if your heart knows how to trust, you are already living in infinite wealth. And if you have everything, but no faith, then you are still just a wanderer searching for happiness in a barren desert. Someone once asked Ibn Arabi, "Master, who is the truly wealthy person?" He replied, "The one who can lose everything and still smile, because they have never lost God." You may lose money, people, or health, but if you still have faith, then you have never truly lost anything. Because whoever finds God, what more could they possibly lose? And whoever loses God, whatever they gain, it no longer holds meaning. And that is what Surah Al Waqi'ah truly wants to remind you. It is not calling you to chase after wealth, but to awaken, to realize that blessings have always surrounded you, waiting for you to open your heart to receive them. So tonight, let your heart recite Surah Al Waqi'ah, not with your lips, but with faith and deep gratitude. When you do, you will feel something miraculous. Even though the world outside may remain the same, inside, everything has changed, because your heart has become the home of grace. My dear friend, after everything we have gone through, the worries, the struggles, the sleepless nights, perhaps what we truly need is not more wealth, but a heart that believes. Because when the heart truly trusts, every storm outside becomes calm. When the heart is grateful, even in loss, we still see blessings. And when the heart is at peace, we no longer need to run anywhere searching for happiness. Because happiness is already resting in every breath we take. Perhaps you too have had days like that. Days when you look up at the sky and ask, why must I go through all of this? Why, despite all my effort, have things still not turned out the way I hoped? But when we look back after a long road, we finally understand. God never truly took anything away. He simply taught us how to let go. He taught us to release control so we could learn to trust. He taught us to let go of fear so we could feel protected. He taught us to surrender our pride so we could learn to bow our heads in gratitude. And in that very moment of surrender, we realize His hand has never left ours. Ibn Arabi once said, when the heart turns toward God, everything else naturally falls into place. A simple yet profound truth. All these years, we have believed we must take control of our lives. But in reality, life truly begins when we stop trying to control and start trusting. It is like a person rowing a boat in the middle of a river. When we fight against the current, we exhaust ourselves. But when we release the oar and let the water carry us, we discover that the river never meant to drown us. It was always guiding us back to where we belong. Life is not always easy, but it is always meaningful if we learn to see through the eyes of faith. There will be days when we lose everything, money, work, loved ones, but if deep within, we still hold faith that God's hand is holding ours, then we have not lost anything at all. Because whoever finds God, what more could they lose? And whoever loses God, whatever they gain, it no longer matters. Do you remember? From the very beginning, we spoke about rizq, the divine provision. And now, when we look back, we understand. Rizq is not just what comes to us in the form of money or possessions. It is everything that keeps our hearts from falling apart. It is a loved one's smile, a quiet morning of peace, the strength to forgive someone, and the courage to rise again after every fall. So just once, recite Surah Al Waqi'ah, not to ask for more, but to look within yourself. Read slowly, word by word, and feel how every verse is like a gentle hand pulling you out of the darkness of worry. Do not read with your lips. Do not read out of habit. Read with a heart ready to believe. Because in that moment, you're no longer asking for blessings. You have become the blessing itself. And now, I want you to close your eyes for a moment, take a deep breath, and just feel this. No matter where you are, no matter what your life looks like right now, you are still surrounded by His love. Every breath you take, every heartbeat, every sunrise you wake to, is proof that He has never left your side, not even for a single moment. A final message. Do not be afraid of the future. Do not dwell on the past. Live in this very moment, because this is where true grace is unfolding. And whenever your heart begins to tremble, remember these words from Ibn Arabi. Do not search for wealth outside yourself, for true abundance already lives within your soul. If you feel that your heart has been touched, then tonight, when the world grows quiet, sit down, open the pages of Surah Al Waqi'ah, and read not to ask, but to surrender your trust completely. Let this video be a small light that spreads through you. And if you believe someone else needs to hear these words too, share it, because that light may just reach a heart that is lost. And if you are still here, reading these lines, leave a sincere comment below. I am grateful because my heart is at peace today. Because every word you write might become a prayer for someone else. In the end, remember this. Surah Al Waqi'ah does not make you rich. It makes you aware, because true wealth is not measured by how much money you have, but by how deeply you trust the provider. And once your heart truly believes, every door will open